is up, everybody? Welcome to Birds of the Round Table. Today, we're breaking down Eagles versus Commanders. Finally, a Sunday 1 o'clock game. As someone who's old, I cannot be more ecstatic. Joining us, as always, he is David at PHL Eagle News. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. You got to love this time of year. First Phillies Game 7 in the history of the franchise. We got another fleecing of the Titans for an all-pro safety. I mean, it's a great week to be a sports fan in Philly.
We got a lot to talk about tonight for sure. Also joining us, my man Ryan Reese of Philly Sports Alliance. Give him a follow on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. What's good, Ryan?
Not much, man. Just riding that high from the Dolphins win, flowing right into this Commanders game, and ready to take a commanding lead in the division.
Absolutely. We already have comments in here, guys. If you're watching this live, smash this video, smash the like button here if you love amazing defense. If you love a Sean Desai masterpiece, as we will talk about. AJ says, appreciate your guys' content. Love to hear your takes on Desai and the D-line versus Gannon and the 2022 Eagles D-line. We can get into that. AJ says also the linebacker position, which was a bunch of guys to figure out later. In my opinion, Morrow and Davis and Carter and Cox have been the best tackles, coverage, blitzes. We're going to get into all that. I promise you. I promise you. We also have Daniel in the house. What's going on, Daniel? Thanks for joining. Before we get into Eagles versus Commanders, let's do our top takeaways against the Miami Dolphins. Throw it to you, Ryan. Floor is yours.
Listen, the defense here has to be the main story. You basically took an offense that was capable of putting up 70 points, and you held them to 10 offensive points. And let's be honest, for some of those points, they had pretty short fields. So, Sean Desai, listen, he's had an up and down season, but I think this was by far his best performance as a coordinator. I thought a lot of the players had some of their best games. We were down a lot of players in that secondary. A lot of people stepped up. We'll certainly talk about it. Thank you, Q. Appreciate that. And honestly, the defense here has to be the main story. And there's so many great stories on that defense. Unfortunately, the defense took control of this game. The offense certainly looked real nice too at times. So overall, I thought this was a statement game. National television, Kelly Green. We were not going to be stopped. And clearly, with San Fran losing, Dallas, slipping, they have a couple of losses. We're clearly the NFC leaders right now, and it's us and KC with only one loss. So that's what I took out of this, is taking our natural place in the pecking order.
Yeah, this was Sean Desai's moment to shine. That's no question. What we saw from the run defense, from Darius Slay getting the Eagles' first turnover in, several weeks. We'll get to that, David. We'll get to that. And, yeah, I see you two just absolutely crush that, and I'm so mad. We'll get into our player predictions in just a tad. But those two guys, you're ridiculous. But the way Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter just outmuscled the Miami offensive line, the way Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick just continuously caused havoc for Tua. They were just in the backfield causing problems. It was amazing, man. I'll throw it to you, David. What was your take?
Yeah, to echo what you were saying about the line. Also, Nolan Smith gets 4 snaps and he gets a sack.
Your boy.
For a loss, be hit. It was insane.
You were the first person. As soon as Nolan Smith got that, I was like, David.
Yeah, my throat started hurting worse. I was screaming, and I wish I was with you guys at the game, man. It was terrible, but yeah, that was just an awesome moment for him. And I put out earlier, I love to see Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham both went up to him, the first 2 guys, man, and that just shows you the leadership. And I don't know what was said. You couldn't see it, but you could see they were talking something. It's just so cool to see the passing of the torch there from Graham to hopefully Nolan, having a similar career. And to what y'all guys said about the defense, on the offensive side, I'd just say time of possession, man, they are just beating the hell out of people. And they're controlling the clock with the 8.5-minute advantage over the whole season. And again, they were at 37 minutes almost to 23 minutes in this game. And there isn't any team that's going to be able to compete with them unless they can beat them on the lines, because if they impose their will like that, nobody can hang. They have less possessions, less opportunities, and the Eagles are just breaking your spirit. And by the fourth quarter, you're damn near giving up.
Yeah, that's the way the Eagles have been able to sustain drives, man. They're going to break some records. I kind of touched on that during the Kelly Green Hour. Also, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown deserves a nod.
My God.
For being just ridiculously dominant again and again and again. This guy's on pace to shatter his 2022 record. I think LJ said 1,900 yards he's on pace for. Just crazy. The last few weeks, man, it's just crazy. There's no words to really describe the chemistry between Hurts and AJ Brown. That throw that Jalen Hurts threw to AJ Brown in the second half. I really liked the Eagles' game plan in this one. You know, we knew going in the Miami Dolphins were going to run a lot of two high safeties and kind of try to take away the Eagles' big play offense. And sure enough, the Eagles kind of went back to basics. They kind of hit those short intermediate passes. They worked the sidelines, the boundaries. They worked the intermediate area of the field to a lot of success and controlled the line of scrimmage. And then sure enough, Jalen Hurts made them pay with that bomb to A.J. Brown. That was fantastic, man. What a amazing play. Just that's arguably the top duo in the NFL. And this is coming against a team with Tyreek and Tua, who are just lights, like just ridiculously off the charts when it comes to stats. Anybody else have any other takeaways before we jump and deep dive into this Washington Commanders matchup?
I got one question. Do y'all think A.J. Brown is in the MVP discussion? Not just best wide receiver in the league. Is he in the MVP discussion right? Who is more important to their team than MVP A.J. Brown right now?
David.
No. Yeah. Listen, I would love nothing more than to say yes, but I also know the NFL, and listen, unless A.J. Brown goes for over 2,000 yards and breaks some sort of record, they're not going to consider it.
He's close though. He's close to putting those kind of numbers up.
Don't get me wrong. He deserves it. Will he though? Probably not. But man, he is on a crazy pace right now. I mean, 700 yards over the last 5 games is insanity. And it's just every week. He's just doing it.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think he's definitely in the category. I think Hurts is over him. That was a big moment for Hurts' MVP stock on Sunday night. Big moment, man. So I lean Hurts for sure. AJ says Tyreek is baffling. First team All-Pro. AJ over Hill. Who got the W? My final take is I finally got to hang out with Ryan Reese. I finally got to hang out with Shaf. We were there tailgating. That was a lot of fun. So it was really cool to kind of drink some beers.
Finally get together, man. It was funny. I was got there as early as I could in the tailgates, and I'm setting up, and all of a sudden I almost get fucking barreled over by you, tackling me, and I'm like, what the? I turn around and Jill, I'm like, oh my god, that was awesome. Yeah, then Shane just kind of pops up, and it was awesome. It was really cool just to kind of have that moment. So again, that's what this is all about. It's all about bringing people together, and we're all big happy fan base, and let's keep it this way. Let's keep winning. Let's keep going. I mean, this is such a great game, the Kelly Green game, and everybody had Kelly Green on. The whole stadium was Kelly Green, and everything looked so fresh and clean, and it was great. It was such a cool game, and definitely one of those top game I'll remember for a while.
All right, let's jump into Kevin Byard just real quick, because before we jump into the Commanders, because I'm still in awe about this move. I'm still in awe I'm still mind blown by Howie Roseman's move. I didn't expect this. This is by far the best thing the Eagles could have done, and there's really not enough you can say about this. I mean, you're going to see Kevin Byard be the Swiss Army knife of this Eagles defense, like Malcolm Jenkins, like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, being able to play in the slot, be able to play on the boundary, have amazing coverage. His availability. He's played in 111 consecutive games. He's got elite versatility. In 2023, 87 snaps in the slot, 171 snaps at free safety, 129 snaps in the box. In 2022, he played just as much. So this is a guy that can play in multiple positions. He's a guy that is a big-time playmaker. He's a ball hawk. When the Eagles' defense is at their best, man, is when they're getting defensive takeaways. We finally got one with Darius Slay for the first one in several weeks, I think, since Tampa. So that was amazing. So for me, love the addition. Again, not enough words can explain how amazing it's going to see Reed and Kevin in that backfield. I'll throw it to you, David. What was your take on Kevin Byard to the Eagles?
I mean, I agree with everything you said. Also, I did a quick PFF search earlier today. He was first in pass coverage in 2021 out of all safeties. He was first in pass coverage in 2022 out of all safeties. I mean, you're bringing a real weapon to this team, man. It's something they dearly missed. And I want to give DK McDonald, I know you've done it a couple times, Dobbs, but DK McDonald, man, he has been amazing in navigating this patchwork defensive back problem they have. But the help he has coming now, I mean, this guy could be getting some promotion jobs here very soon because he's been making this work with just a bunch of undrafted free agents, a bunch of late round picks, just patchwork problems the whole year. But yeah, like you also mentioned, Byard also has 111 straight games. He is the longest streak of any safety. He's an Iron Man. It only added 1.4 million to the cap this year. I mean, it was just a fleece, man. I don't know how else to put it. It was just a fleecing. Howie's executive of the year again. I mean, it's just wild.
I don't understand why the Titans even answer the goddamn phone. I don't.
He is going to get another Titans GM fired. Plain and simple. I mean, a fifth, a sixth, and Edmonds. Like, listen, Edmonds. Great to have you for a couple of games, but we'll gladly take Byard. I mean, him and a healthy Reed Blankenship to go along with Slay, to go along with Bradbury, to go along with the development of some of these younger, corners. I mean, Ricks had a great game.
Play more in the slot.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the beauty of the fact that we've been able to do this, the patchwork with the injuries and getting, these undrafted rookies, these rookie players, precious time on the field. It's going to show dividends down the line. And when we're all healthy, having these guys have that experience when they need to throw them in down later in the season, it's going to be huge. We're going to have such a great defensive backfield now that Byard kind of solidifies the last piece of that puzzle, because we were uncertain about this other safety position. I mean, Edmonds got some time in there. Sidney Brown, when he was healthy, they threw him in a little bit. They still were kind of, holding him back a little bit. I mean, we didn't really have anybody. So now that we have somebody, it really just makes everything else kind of fall in the line. And the fact that we've been able to do this so far with a bunch of undrafted rookie free agents and, people that should be on practice squads is amazing. So hats off to Howie.
Loaded, man.
And who's ever had two starting safeties from Middle Tennessee before in their lineup? Ever. In the history of football.
Right?
AJ says, here's a stat for you. Tua was pressured 11 times. Hurts pressured 16. Both took 3 sacks. However, Tua was 3 of 11 for 36 yards. Hurts was 11 of 16 for 134 yards, plus Hurts' runs, who continuously looks good there. Some more fun stats, AJ. I got some for you. Here's some of my favorites. They sacked Tua on 8.6% of his dropbacks. The Miami Dolphins were averaging 4.6% this season. The Dolphins had an explosive play rate of 5.6% on Tua's dropbacks against the Eagles. He was averaging 11%. And they held the Dolphins to just 52 yards after the catch Dolphins receivers only averaged 2.3 average yards after the catch. That's the lowest figure in the entire week 7 of anybody. And that's just kind of goes into Sean Desai and how fundamental and disciplined this Eagles defense was. They were great at tackling. They were great at keeping everything in front of them. They really just knocked it out of the park in so many respects in every single layer. It was just, again, a masterpiece. So that's my take. And I agree, Kathleen. Defense pressured Tua, did a great job. We're going to get more into that against the Commanders. Are we good to go into the Commanders?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. We are going to now talk about our top matchups to watch against the Washington Commanders. As soon as I find out where this video is. You know what? I can't find. Oh, there it is. Here we go. All right, Eagles take on the Washington Commanders. You look back at that week 4. The Eagles were tied with the Commanders 24-24 in the fourth quarter. Jalen Hurts led a 6-play drive that gave them the lead. And then that culminated into a Jake Elliott 54-yard field goal with 3 minutes left in overtime. That was the difference. On offense, you kind of saw Jalen Hurts settle down, especially in that second half. It was a pretty good game by Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts and company. On defense is where the questions really lie in that game. It was one game. That was the one game I thought that Sam Howell would just get absolutely crushed, and Howell just continuously beat the Eagles with his legs, with his arm, outside of the pocket, avoiding pressure. I'll throw it to you, Ryan. First, what is your matchup to watch between the Eagles and the Commanders?
Yeah, I think this was something that I don't think we were thinking about was something to watch because we thought it would just be easy for the Eagles, but it was essentially the Eagles' defensive line versus their offensive line. We thought they would eat all day. We thought they would be in Sam Howell's face every second of every play. Like there was no questioning it. But what happened? That offensive line held up, and they were able to minimize the Eagles' defensive line. So now I really want to see what Desai's going to do, knowing what happened that first game, knowing what they did to counteract the Eagles' rush towards Sam Howell. And I want to see exactly how that matchup's going to play around this time. I want to see the adjustments that the Eagles' defensive line can do to get to Sam Howell. I want to see them do what we thought was going to happen that first game. I want them in their face. I want them to that offensive line for the Washington Commanders. I want them to be hands on their knees in the fourth quarter. And I want to see that adjustment. So let's see what this Eagles D-line, what the pass rush, what Desai can do to have that second time around and get at that quarterback for the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, that's a great one. You look back at that one. The Eagles in week 4, the Eagles got to Sam Howell 4 times or 5 times. I think it was 5 times, and that wasn't really the take. Like, I thought Sam Howell was amazing at avoiding pressure and making big plays in big moments. And I remember being shocked at how good he looked against this defensive line, man. So you look at the Commanders last week. Sam Howell was sacked 5 times in the first half, 6 overall in week 7. And you look at Sam Howell, he's now gotten sacked 40 times on the season. They're going to shatter the Texans' record, man. They're really on pace to do it. What about you, David? What's your matchup to watch?
I went with the Eagles rushing game versus that defensive front of the Washington Commanders. I mean, it feels like we just talked about this because I guess we kind of did like 4 weeks ago. But I mentioned it last time, and I guess it's worth noting again. The Commanders have 4 first-round draft picks on that line, so they don't get bullied that easily. And the Eagles only got 104 rushing yards that game, and Hurts was 34 of them. And just as an aside, not to sound like a Debbie Downer, but Hurts added a knee brace to his repertoire there going into the second half there. And after the game, he was asked if it's going to cause him any problems going forward, and he basically said he didn't know. He said, we'll see, or something to that effect. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said, I hope not, I think is what he said. So, and he's been giving himself up a lot this season already to begin with. So if he's not a factor in the run game, that leaves you with 70 yards that everybody else had in that game. And if they don't win that battle, they don't eat the time of possession. Their whole strategy in the offense changes when that happens. It's just a butterfly effect. And I think that'll dictate whether or not that they, are able to not have problems like they did last game, ending up in overtime with the team they have no business being in overtime with.
Yeah, that's the offensive line versus the Commanders pass rush. Chase Young is really coming on strong these last few weeks. He's got 19 pressures and 3 sacks. He's 11th best in the league when it comes to pass rush win rate at 24%. So he had 2 more sacks against the Giants. He's been active in every game. I think he's starting to get home more and more as the season progresses. That's a really good one to watch.
These are always the matchups that worry me the most because the 2 games the Eagles were tested the most, both times it was because the intensity of the opposing team's line being able to match the Eagles' line, which doesn't happen to them much. Their loss to the Jets was because the Jets' defensive line just throttled the Eagles' offensive line. And you can make excuses. Lane went out or Opeta had to come in, but facts are facts. They competed with them on the line, and those are the teams that any game that they're going forward to have problems with, it's matching the intensity of the line is where the problem is. It's almost going to be the only matchup where you have to look at and know how the game's going to play out.
Do you think Emmanuel Forbes plays on Sunday? Because A.J. Brown cooked Forbes in week 4. Absolutely cooked him. You look at Emmanuel Forbes, he played 5 snaps against the Giants last week.
Oh, man.
20. So get this. He was playing like 40 snaps week 1, 44 snaps week 2, plays 65 against the Eagles week 4. The next 2 weeks, 24 and 5. A.J. Brown literally just said, no.
Yeah.
And now he had a lot to do with A.J. Brown and that performance. But, yeah, Emmanuel Forbes, man, that's going to be interesting because I think A.J. Brown had 2 touchdowns on Forbes in that one. Anybody else have any other matchups to watch here? Commanders wide receivers versus the Eagles secondary. We can touch on that just a little bit. I mean,
yeah, I think that's a good matchup too because again we're hopefully we're going to see a bit of Byard and hopefully what he's got, what's going on. And again, hopefully we also get a healthy Reed Blankenship. I mean, this are all questions that have to be answered throughout this week. Is the health of him and how much exactly Kevin Byard's going to play. Again, I don't think a lot of us thought that Julio Jones was going to play, but they got him in there. Limited snaps and all, but it could be a similar situation. But then again, Byard's been playing, so again, it's really just kind of his comfortability with their defensive schemes and maybe the language that the Eagles might use. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I mean, obviously the Commanders have a couple of good wide receivers. Scary Terry, Dotson, Samuel, Logan Thomas, even tight end. Is certainly somebody that is somebody to be feared because Eagles and tight ends, man, sometimes they don't mix up so well. So I definitely am going to be looking at that matchup for sure.
Terry McLaurin has at least 9 targets during 3 of the last 4 weeks, but he has not gotten into the end zone since week 2. And just one important note when it comes to Eagles versus Commanders, and look at this. This is At home this season, the Commanders average a league worst 3.3 giveaways per game. In the Commanders' 3 home games this season, they have 6 interceptions. 6 interceptions.
Dang.
So could this be the week that the Eagles really get in the plus when it comes to takeaways? Again, we finally saw D. Slade, get a big turnover there.
Huge turnover.
In the second half of the Miami game with Bayard and Reed back and all these pieces of the puzzle finally coming together in Sean Desai's defense. Definitely something to watch. AJ says 100% Chase Young versus Jordan Mailata. That's the biggest mismatch in week 4. Young is looking like the player he was meant to be. Absolutely. Some comments real quick. Turnovers is what kills us. Need to stop the turnovers. Absolutely. NFL Reality Check says AJ Brown's the MVP after 6 weeks. Just saying he's only 100 yards less than Hill in yards receiving and has 5 straight 125 receiving yards per game. He's been sensational. So you can't. Watkins and Sidney Brown are out for the Washington.
No.
Wes. Oh no.
No. What are we gonna do?
Looking forward to Kevin Byard. I mean, I haven't seen anything. He's playing, right? Like
I would assume they traded for him early enough. I would assume that he'll be playing. He may be on kind of a snap count, maybe, but also they did trade away Edmonds, so it's not like they have extra pieces. And if Reed certainly isn't playing, I would assume Bayard would be playing the whole game like normal. And man, what a homecoming! Guys from Philly gets to play the Washington Commanders, a rival. Wouldn't that be great to get an interception this first week? I mean, what a welcoming back to the Philadelphia Eagles, to Philadelphia.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Anybody else have any other matchups to watch?
Well, I guess not.
All right. Let's get into our Eagles predictions of the week. Let's look at the scoreboard here, and we have a real decision to make in this one.
We do.
We'll see. But heading into week 7 last week, my player of the week prediction was Tua, and Shane went Tyreek. Obviously, those two are incorrect.
Yeah.
David.
Me and David stayed true. True to the Eagles.
Darius Slay and Ryan picked AJ Brown. That is a hell of a battle. I'm going to just watch.
I mean, listen, I think
why you think you should win and vice versa.
I will let David go first.
I'm gonna let Ryan have it with AJ Brown. I mean, without those plays in the game, without his dominating performance and the yards that keep churning these first downs over and over and big plays, they wouldn't be there. I mean, Slade's football IQ is crazy to know to lay off the route, going to the back of the end zone and undercut it. But I'll let Ryan have this with AJ Brown. I mean, that was just such a dominating performance.
All right, AJ Brown and Ryan Reese for the W here, and then score predictions. Both and Shane and I did have the Eagles losing to the Dolphins, so that is out. Ryan, you predicted 38-35. David, you predicted 28-24. What was the final score of the Eagles? It was
31-17, right?
31-17, 48 points.
I went a little over.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to David.
Yeah, give it to David.
You got it.
All right. That's it. That's the least we could do.
All right. So we will tally that up for a later show. But guys, let's get into our player of the week and score predictions between the Eagles and Commanders. Lead us off, David. What's your vibe?
I'm obviously picking the Eagles to win. I said it last week. I'll say it this week. there's no team that they can't compete with. There's no big bad wolf lurking out there that's going to scare them. The Dolphins don't scare them. A team like the Commanders, who took them to overtime, isn't going to scare them. I think they can compete with anyone at any time, and they're slowly figuring this thing out. I mean, they went weeks without incorporating Devontae Smith, and then they started throwing it to him. And they went a couple weeks without A.J. Brown, then they incorporated him. And then the same with Goddard. And they just keep building this thing. And once all four of those guys, Swift, Goddard, Smitty, and A.J., are all getting fed in the same game, this offense is unstoppable, man. And I don't know when that week is going to be, but it's on its way. So I'm going with the Eagles in a big win, 34-17.
34-17 Eagles. And who's your player of the week prediction?
Ooh, if I get to go first, I am going A.J. Brown.
Oh, man.
I mean, how can you not pick the guy who's getting 150 yards a week? I mean,
right.
you got to take him. It's a layup. You got to try.
No doubt.
All right, Ryan, you're up, man. Who's your player of the week and score prediction?
All right, so I like David, picked the Eagles last week, and I'm going to continue to pick the Eagles as I feel his sentiment that the Eagles can absolutely hang with any and every team. There is not a team that scares me. What's up, Anthony? So yeah, listen, I expect them to learn from what happened on week 4. And it's not going to be a close one. And I think Sean Desai is humming at the right time right now. They just held the big bad Miami Dolphins team to 10 offensive points. So I fully expect them to do kind of the same. I'm going to go a big win. I'm going to go 31-10.
Whew.
And I don't think it's going to be close. I think there's a possibility we see Mariota.
I would love that.
I have that in my notes too. I actually put that in my notes as well.
Hey,
Mariota.
listen, we're clearly on the same page here, David.
That'd be amazing.
As far as player of the game, it's I would love to have been able to select A.J. Brown, but I am going to go with I'm going to go with Dallas Goedert. I'm seeing 2 touchdowns for him. I think he's going to eat the middle of that field, and I think he's going to get in the end zone a couple times.
Dallas Goedert for Ryan. That's a good one. Both are definitely trending up for sure. I definitely think the Eagles are trending up in the right way. For me, I'll go Eagles get the W. I'm not going to say it's as high scoring as last one. I'm going to go a little more conservative, time of possession, shutting out the the Commanders type of game. So I'm going to go my boy, Jalen Carter, for player of the game every week.
Love it.
One of these days, someone has to pick Jordan Davis because he's sensational.
Oh my God, he really is. He's just slowly just having a dominating year, and it's honestly it's a thing of beauty to see the entire defensive line, much less those 2 young guys in Davis and Carter, just absolutely dominate. And with Nolan Smith getting his first sack, I mean, man, how could you not be just so happy about where this defensive line is headed for the future?
Yeah, I'm picking Carter mostly because I look back at that game against the Commanders in week 4. The Commanders had a sneaky good run game. And, that was a game that they didn't put up a ton of yards, but they were efficient. And they seemed to do a really good job just to keep the Eagles off balance. And they were extremely efficient on 3rd down. I think they were 2 for 2 on 4th down. They were a problem. And I think Jalen Carter is going to respond here. He's my favorite. So we're going Jalen Carter, and Eagles win 27-10. 27-10 here. And we will lock it in. Let's go to some comments real quick. Quentin says, Eagles win 30-17. I think that's his first win for the Eagle prediction.
I think so.
Now I'm freaking out.
No, the things do not sound right now coming from that.
Kathleen says, love Goddard. AJ says, I think the Eagles try to reestablish the inside zone power running dominance, give Hurts a break. One really important thing to know about the Commanders is they suck in the first half. They're a bottom tier in the league when it comes to first half offense. So if the Eagles can kind of jump ahead early and make the Commanders one-dimensional, I love their odds. Anthony says, I have 38-28 Redskins or Commanders because they played their best game last week against the Finns. If the Eagles tackle as well as they tackled against the Dolphins, if they limit the turnovers, if they limit they're not going to have 0 penalties again, although that would be great. But yeah, Kathleen says, go Birds. Absolutely. Austin Hamill, what's going on, man?
Yo, what up, Austin?
Can't wait for Julio Jones down by the schoolyard to get more snaps. AJ says 36. Eagles get the W. This is a complete defense now. It's very close to its final form.
Like that.
The Eagles played their best game last week. They will play down to their competition. That is a great point. That is a great
scary
point.
thought, unfortunately.
All right.
Quentin.
That basically wraps up this show. I'll throw it to you, Ryan. Final thoughts on Eagle versus Commanders and plugs.
Yeah, listen, what a great week. The Eagles celebrated their Kelly Green uniforms, and, man, they didn't disappoint. It was game of the week, Sunday night. Another, amazing team in Miami. And, listen, we all knew Tyreek Hill was going to get his. He got 88 yards, and I think every Eagles fan out there was super happy with that. He got only 88 yards, and I think we'll all take it, even with that touchdown. But, yeah, the defense shined, and the defense just got better. Like, what a great time for this to happen. So Howie's magic. He's a freaking wizard. I absolutely love him. And listen, I think the Eagles are really starting to hum now. And we've been waiting for them to kind of get it all figured out. And I think they're close to it. So as far as where you can find me, you can find me everywhere. Check your social media. I'll be there. You can check Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. On Edge of Philly Sports Network, doing shows throughout the week. Whenever I can, I pop in and do whatever. So always support, like, follow, share, subscribe, all those little things that take you 2 seconds to do mean the world to all of us. So please make sure that you're following this guy. I don't know which way I'm pointing anymore. This guy down here. They put out such amazing content, and Shane as well. We're missing you, Shane. We're glad that we were able to finally meet you this weekend. I know he was just getting back into town today. So I found Ron. I told you I'm everywhere. I'm at your local Walmart. I'll just be talking to myself in the corner and the housing aisle or something. So, but yeah, seriously, appreciate all the comments. Appreciate all the love. Thank you, everybody who supports everything that we do here at Edge of Philly Sports, what I do at Philly Sports Alliance, and then what these guys do as well. But yeah, likes, comments, follows, shares, subscribes, all that does mean the world to us. So we do humbly thank you very much for everybody out there.
All right, you're up, David.
I don't have much that I'm promoting right now. I'm currently researching a piece on the curious fall of Jalen Carter in the draft, talking to a few people, seeing why teams passed. Not just because of behavioral issues, not just because of the car wreck incident. There's interestingly a couple other reasons why some teams had him ranked a little lower. So I'm working on that now, but I'm also focused on the trade deadline. It's 1 week from today. I know that the heavy lifting has probably been done with Bayard, but you never know with Howie. But I definitely think a move could be made just to try to recoup a couple of those picks. And who knows, maybe the Nolan Smith breakout precipitates Derek Barnett's exodus, man. You never know. But you can follow me at PhillyCoverCorner.com and PHL Eagle News on X/Twitter.
Awesome. My final take is just stay healthy. Just get out of Washington healthy. Again, next week or the following week, Cowboys. The following week, Chiefs. Bills, Niners, Cowboys, Seahawks. Holy cow. This is the stretch. And if they're 1-0, let's keep it rolling. Let's stay healthy. Let's get a nice, smooth victory And who knows, maybe we'll get a backup quarterback in there in the second half. That would be terrific. Again, thank you everyone for watching. Please be sure to like this video wherever you're watching. And he is Ryan. That is David. I am Dibes. Shane wasn't with us tonight. He is flying back from Philadelphia. It was awesome to hang out with him. Of course, he will be back on next week's show. And we will see you on the next Birds of the Roundtable. Stay awesome, everyone.
Right.